So you've watched a couple hundred hours of YouTube videos and you think you want to go overlanding, but you're not sure what you need to start. You see image upon image of countless Jeep JKs and JLs and the ubiquitous white 5th gen clone trooper Forerunners decked out to the nines with overlanding accessories. You've seen YouTuber after YouTuber, Instafluencer after Instafluencer, pushing accessory after accessory on you with each video and post. Manufacturers are spamming your feed with paid promotions touting the virtues of some expensive accessories they claim to be the game changer you need. For a lot of people, being bombarded with all these messages leaves them with a feeling of gear poverty, which stands in the way between their longing at other people's adventures on the small screen and actually going out to the woods and having an adventure for themselves. I know because I struggle with it. Heck, I still struggle with it. Almost all of these high dollar, high margin items being sold to you are complete non-essential luxury items. Do they have the potential to make your life easier or more convenient on the trail? Sure, but is it worth the cost? Well, that's ultimately your choice. One you should make only after you've gone out and spent some time in the woods to discover if they are a luxury worth having. It's in the spirit of doing more with less that I present to you my list of 5 things you absolutely do not need to go overlanding. Number 1, a rooftop tent. This might be a little surprising, but as someone who actually owns a rooftop tent, I'll tell you that it is a 100% unnecessary luxury item. Yes, we absolutely appreciate that after a long day, we can roll into camp and in a relatively short amount of time, have a dry, flat place to sleep, and because our bedding stays in the tent, it's one less thing we have to fumble with or find storage for. Beyond that, their advantages start to fade. First, they're ridiculously expensive. Our Tepui Kukanam is one of the lowest priced decent softshell models on the market, and it still retails at over $1,500 new. You can buy a 6-pack of good ground tents for that kind of money. That's just the tip of the iceberg. On average, they weigh well over 100 pounds. It is a minimum of a 2-person job, taking one on or off, so you're pretty much stuck with it on there. If you take it off, you'll never go camp again because you'll dread putting the tent back on. They also can be a pain if you camp with pets or small kids, as you'll likely be lifting both of them in or out every night. Honestly, if you're just starting out, I'd recommend sticking to a basic ground tent and using the money you'd spend on a rooftop tent to buy yourself a good set of AT tires for your rig. Number 2, a $500 shovel. Okay, so maybe I got a little confused out there by the wonder that is the Grand Canyon and might have over-exaggerated the price. This should be more like a $200 shovel, but still. Yeah, you heard me right, $200 for a shovel, and no, it's not one of those gimmicks where you buy the shovel and then you get like a year's supply of free French fries or Netflix or something. This is just you spending a lot of money for a gimmick folding shovel. Does this product magically do the shoveling for you? No, but it does look like all the rest of the over-engineered, fashionably tactical garbage companies push off onto unsuspecting marks who've been coached by the gram to think they absolutely need it. Listen to me. You don't need it. But this really isn't just about shovels, it's about this whole industry of disruptors who have created an entire economy out of reimagining tried and true designs with today's access to tech, exotic materials, and fancy production practices. Then turning around and charging 6 times as much because it's now somehow more better. Number 3, a 12-volt refrigerator. Most sources you find will tell you that what we call overlanding today originated in Australia to describe the droving of livestock over great distances around the turn of the 20th century. You may have heard of the canning stock route, and while I've got great respect for my friends from down under, I'd like to say that we were doing it here in North America too. We just called it something else. I'm talking about westward expansion, the wagon trains. You know, the goddamn Oregon Trail. Of all the hours I spent in the computer lab in elementary school playing that gaming masterpiece, I never once was confronted with this question when outfitting my party in St. Louis. Would you like the expensive ARB fridge or the value Alpacool one with the LG compressor? Depending on your willingness to accept certain scientific facts, human beings have been on this planet somewhere between 6,000 and 300,000 years, yet we've only had widespread access to refrigeration for about the last 100. That means, for the overwhelming majority of human history, people have been traveling untold distances without a means to keep their cleverly named IPAs chilled. If Marco Polo could go overland from Italy to China and back without a fridge, you can go out for a weekend and suffer through the misery of getting your hand wet when you reach into your trusty cooler and pull out a soda. While the low-end $600 setup doesn't sound that bad, there's one thing to consider. That compressor in that fridge may not be the best in the world. Like, you're definitely going to get what you pay for. Ice, on the other hand, never stops being ice until it gets hot. Cooler tech has come quite a long ways, with modern roto-molded coolers advertising some very impressive ice holding capabilities. I used to carry a 65-quart Pelican on the catwalk of my truck when I drove over the road all over the Southwest United States. Out in the sun with 100+ degree heat blowing around it all the time, my cooler would still only really need ice every 3 days. That's longer than 90% of y'all's last overlanding trips, I guarantee it. It's also about the same interval most people can go without needing to stop somewhere and grab fuel. I don't think I've ever seen a gas station anywhere that didn't have some sort of ice available, so it really shouldn't be that big of an issue to keep your cooler packed. Number 4, a disc cooker or scuttle. Here's another one of those Instagram/YouTube darlings that all the cool overlanders are always pushing in their content. Yeah, they're a cool and somewhat unique way to do your cooking. However, good quality models are almost $400 for what is essentially a propane burner, a wok, and a tripod. I'm not one to shy away from gimmick outdoors cooking gadgets, but this one just pushes all the wrong buttons for me, and it starts with the fact that I could go out and buy a stove and a good wok for less than a quarter of what a scuttle would cost me. And you'll most certainly still need some sort of stove, as the scuttle isn't going to be the most efficient way for you to heat or boil water, and that's something you'll absolutely want the ability to do on anything longer than a single overnight trip. They're also a big space hog, meaning they're one more piece of kit that you're gonna have to find a spot for in your rig. No, I'd definitely skip this one if I was starting out. Number 5, a new car. I wholeheartedly believe the biggest mistake people make when they want to start overlanding is to go out and buy a new vehicle. While I'm not the first to say this, I'm going to echo what others have said. The best first overlanding rig is the one that you already own. Starting with what you have allows you to get your foot into this world without having to part with a large sum of cash, or worse yet, finance $60,000 or $70,000 over 72 months to then perhaps find out this isn't the lifestyle or hobby for you. There's this misconception out there that to be an overlander, you've got to drive the most insanely upfitted off-road vehicle, decked out with a lifts and 35s, rock sliders, the whole 9 yards. And that just isn't the case. For the people that have these rigs, they probably spend less than 5% of their time off-road actually needing those items. Not to mention the fact that they spend an even greater amount of time on the pavement trying to get to the off-road areas. Here's a little tip. Most of the places we go to camp could probably be accessed by a 2-wheel drive vehicle with even moderate levels of clearance. You just don't always see that on channels like ours because, honestly, who wants to watch us drive down a flat dirt road? And those basic dirt roads can lead to some pretty special places. Check out these 2 rigs. We came across them parked at a Grand Canyon trailhead almost 40 miles down some single-track dirt roads in the Kaibab Forest. I mean, that's a Camry, and it went to the exact same place our super capable Land Rover Discovery did. Is a compact sedan the ultimate vehicle for overlanding? No, but it'll get you enough places to know whether or not this hobby is for you, and if it's not, you can walk away without wondering how you're going to get out from under all that negative equity you buried yourself under with a foolish vehicle purchase. If you find out it is for you, you'll be able to learn what you don't like, need, and don't need in your next overlanding rig simply by using your current vehicle as a baseline. Spend some time out in areas that are within your vehicle's capability, and then start taking notes on what you like, don't like, love, or hate, and then compile that into a list of wants/don't wants on your next vehicle. That way, when you finally do go to pull the trigger, you'll be a lot more certain the first overlanding rig you buy will be the right one for you. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you did, please like and subscribe to our channel. We're gonna start rolling out some more content like this. As always, I'm Matt Kessler. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Frugal Explorer Dad. Check out our new webpage, secondhandoverland.net, where you can pick up the newest, coolest secondhand overland merch we just rolled out, featuring the new secondhand trophy logo. So, go check it out. Until next time, be good.